This is the Film Symbologist. Welcome. In this video, I will continue my analysis of Ridley Scott's Prometheus by delving into another ancient tradition that may help inform the plot of the 2012 science fiction film. By the end of this video, you will have some insight into the green crystal shown in the ampule room of the pyramid on LV-223. And you will have some idea of what those engineers were planning to do on Earth. If you haven't seen prior installments in this series, I suggest checking those out. In the last episode, I compared David to Hermes, a deity in Greek mythology who is mentioned in Homeric hymns dating back to the 7th century BC. By the 6th century BC, the Roman Republic was emerging, and many gods from ancient Greece were being adopted by the Romans. Some Greek mythological figures were transferred to Rome unchanged, while others were discarded entirely. But in most cases, the names of deities were changed. The supreme leader Zeus became Jupiter. Zeus's demigod son Heracles became Hercules, and the trickster messenger of the gods, who is able to move with quickness between realms, Hermes, became the god Mercury, which is also a metal known for its ability to quickly change between liquid and solid states. The caduceus, the staff of Hermes, is also used as the astronomical symbol for the planet Mercury. In the Hellenistic period between the 4th and 1st centuries BC, the teachings of Hermes from Greek mythology and Thoth, the Egyptian god of writing, wisdom, and magic, were integrated, forming the Hermetic tradition. An assortment of texts written in late antiquity and associated with this tradition are referred to as the Hermetica. These texts helped Hermeticism grow into a philosophical and religious tradition that combined or syncretized ideas not only from ancient Greece and Egypt, but Jewish mysticism, Persian Zoroastrianism, and other sources as well. In Prometheus, it is fitting that during the crew's initial exploration of LV-223, David is the one who opens the sealed door in the pyramid in the desert by deciphering the message in the hieroglyphics. Immediately upon opening the door, the decapitated head, the vases, and the ceiling murals are affected and begin to change and react. This room appears to have been hermetically sealed off from the outside hallways. The word hermetically, which means completely shut and airtight, is a reference to the ancient occult tradition of Hermeticism, whose followers are said to worship esoteric knowledge in solitude and without outside influence. Hermeticists adhere to the belief that one true theology exists. It is present in pretty much all religious and mythological traditions, and it was revealed to early humans by God in antiquity. The integration of Egyptian and Greek thought through the figures of Thoth and Hermes, and further incorporation of ancient cultures' teachings helped reveal this primeval divine wisdom. During the Renaissance, this idea of an ancient theology matured and came to be known as perennial philosophy. By collating, comparing, and distilling various lessons from a variety of cultural traditions, it is thought that a universal human nature and morality could be revealed. In episode 11 of this series, I discussed an interpretation of Prometheus's plot through the lens of Gnosticism, another ancient wisdom tradition. Hermeticism greatly influenced Gnosticism, with both traditions sharing an emphasis on esoteric knowledge as the key to salvation. Both belief systems teach that the human soul's true home is in a divine spiritual realm, and that the physical world of matter is a place of exile. The Hermetic and Gnostic traditions promote spiritual purification and attainment of secret knowledge as necessary for linking one's soul back to the divine source. Hermeticism also inspired alchemy, an ancient precursor to natural philosophy and chemistry. Alchemists are known for their interest in the magnum opus, or great work, which was a mystical process that sought to turn base metals like mercury into silver and gold. Explored through laboratory processes and chemical color changes, the magnum opus has been used in the Hermetic tradition to describe personal and spiritual transmutation as part of the individuation process. Hermeticists sought to turn prima materia, or unordered matter, into the philosopher's stone, which could be used to produce an elixir of immortality. In practice, it was believed that the successful realization of this process could rectify man's dualistic spiritual and physical nature and lead to individual enlightenment, transformation, and transcendence. The magnum opus process traditionally consists of 4 stages. First is the negrito, or blackening stage. Next is the albedo, or whitening, followed by the citrinitas, or yellowing, and finally the rubedo, or reddening. For the matter undergoing transformation, blackening symbolizes the moment of maximum despair, the beginning of the process, chaos, and decomposition. Whitening is associated with the washing away of impurity, when the subject may be divided into 2 opposing principles. The second stage is also associated with silver, which symbolizes purity and the feminine balance to the masculine gold. Yellowing is associated with air, the spirit, and a dawning or awakening. Reddening symbolizes individuation, the unification of body, soul, and spirit, and the philosopher's stone, which can be used to create gold, or an elixir of life capable of providing rejuvenation and immortality. For centuries, alchemists attempted to create the philosopher's stone, the symbol of perfection at its finest, divine illumination, and heavenly bliss. This alchemical transformation process seeks to purify and elevate the prime material to its perfected state. The key to unlocking this process is said to be contained within a text of the Hermetica that is associated with Hermes and is known as the Emerald Tablet. A concise work, this text is a central feature of Western alchemy. The Emerald Tablet represents the Hermetic principle of as above, so below, which suggests that there is correspondence between the universe in macrocosm and the individual human soul in microcosm. The nature of the human soul is something that Russian author Alexander Solzhenitsyn described in a passage from his 1973 book, The Gulag Archipelago. The line separating good and evil passes not through states, nor through classes, nor between political parties either, but right through every human heart, and through all human hearts. This line shifts, Inside us, it oscillates with the years, and even within hearts overwhelmed by evil, one small bridgehead of good is retained. If, as Solzhenitsyn claims, the human soul can be characterized as a battle between good and evil, does it stand that there is also a grand cosmic battle between these same forces? What characterizes each force? Which force is winning? Now at this point, you may be asking yourself what this has to do with the 2012 science fiction film. Ancient mythological traditions and ideas about macrocosmic forces may seem far removed from space marines, facehuggers, and xenomorphs. But whether you like it or not, these are the existential waters that Ridley Scott has chosen to swim in with his film Prometheus. So let's see if we can understand Scott's epic through the lens of Hermeticism and alchemy. Hermeticists believe there is a through line of ancient wisdom and esoteric knowledge from antiquity to the present, as evidenced by similar moral teachings that are found throughout time and across cultural traditions. According to this line of thinking, God, perhaps through an emissary, imparted divine lessons to early humans, and these lessons have been inherited and retold as stories over and over by subsequent civilizations. In this light, the artifacts that Shaw and Holloway discover may not be recordings of visitations those individual cultures experienced. They may represent God's initial transmission of wisdom to our earliest ancestors. This would mean that the so-called star maps from Sumeria, Egypt, the Hittites, Babylon, the Mayans, and Hawaii are iterations of the same event. Who is depicted in the artifacts, why they are pointing to that star system, and what they are saying to our ancestors are open to interpretation. In the original trailer for Prometheus, Holloway sees a cup on the altar in the ampule room of the pyramid. This is the same cup that is shown in the opening scene of the theatrical version of the film. In the final cut of Prometheus, unlike the trailer, the cup on the altar is replaced with a green crystal. I will offer a few explanations for this change. Leaving the cup in the altar may have made interpreting the relationship between the cloaked engineers and biomechanical engineers more difficult. The choice to replace the cup with a green crystal not only helps with interpreting the film, but also clarifies who exactly the LV-223 engineers are and what their plan for Earth is. Ridley's change tells us that the giant beings on LV-223 are alchemists. The green crystal is the emerald tablet. It holds the secret to the magnum opus. The engineers endeavor to undertake an alchemical process to create the philosopher's stone and elixir of life. What was the prima materia, the chaotic substance that the engineers were going to transform? Was it metals like mercury, simple life forms like those found by Milburn and Fifield in the pyramid? Or was Earth and its inhabitants the primordial matter that the engineers were going to subject to an alchemical process? The audience is certainly led to believe that humanity in particular was the intended recipient of the vases of black goo. Apparently, a cataclysmic event occurred on LV-223 in the 1st century AD Earth time that prevented the engineers from carrying out their plan. If the engineers had been able to carry out their plan, what would have happened? When the crew members of the Prometheus expedition interacted with the black goo in the film, what did happen? It makes sense that David, as the Hermes-like raider and trickster figure, is the one who takes a vase from the pyramid, who tricks Holloway into ingesting some of the black goo, and who initiates the alchemical magnum opus process on LV-223. And given its prominence on the altar and the role of the emerald tablet in Hermeticism, the green crystal may have been used by the engineers to prepare the vases and animate their contents in some way prior to being loaded into the cargo bay of the juggernauts. The placement of the vases in the ampule room indicates a ceremonial arrangement. The black goo in the urn that David takes may have been animated, but the incident occurred prior to that jar being brought to the juggernaut. The breaking of the Hermetic seal on the door and the presence of humans seems to have activated the organic contents of the urns. David, the messenger of the gods, delivers the engineer's message to the crew of the Prometheus. Mankind is unformed chaos that needs to be transformed and perfected. Our competing dual natures of body and soul need to be rectified. While our spirits are trapped in the material world, it may be possible to unify body and soul through the magnum opus. Perhaps the flesh can be harnessed for spiritual rather than material ends. Should we welcome the engineer's gift, or do we have reason to doubt their intentions? As above, so below. In the next video in the Prometheus series, I will take a closer look into the properties, nature, and role of the black goo in the film. Is it a bioweapon, a virus, a miracle drug, or something else? If you like this kind of content, would like to see more, and would like to support the creation of new content, give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and Patreon. Links are in the video description. The Film Symbologist thanks you for watching.